Good day, Ma'am Melanie Boris II. Good day, classmate. We are going to present the capacitive sensor. I'm Vivian Salinay.
And I am Nervin Rullarata.
So, what is capacitive sensor? A capacitive sensor is an electronic device that can detect solid or liquid target without physical contact. So, madetect ang solid or liquid sa capacitive sensor bisan wala nagdikit. To detect this target, capacitive sensor emits an electrical field from the sensing end of the sensor. Any target that can disrupt this electrical field can be detected by a capacitive sensor. So, sa tumoy sa capacitive sensor, na ay gatuyok-tuyok nga electrical field. Pag madisturbo to siya, mag-create siya og signal sa capacitive sensor nga ang buot pasabot ato kay nag-detect niya ang object. So, muna siya ang mga capacitive sensor na ay mga lahi-lahi nga naong, lahi-lahi color, pero parehas sila function.
Types of materials capacitive sensor can detect. Some of the examples of the solid materials of a capacitive sensor can detect all the types of metal, all the types of plastic, wood, paper, glass, and cloth. And as you can see, pareha atong na-experience ato dito sa atong laboratory, katong sensor number 1 is a capacitive sensor. All of the solid materials are detected on this sensor. So, capacitive sensor can also detect liquids like water, oil, and paint. So, ang capacitive sensor dahil dili lang siya ingon nga puro solid lang ang iyang ma-detect. Ma-detect pa niya ang tubig, acidic, o pintal. Some capacitive sensors are used to detect material inside a non-metallic container. The capacitive sensor used to do this have an adjustable sensing range. So, kaya po din ni capacitive sensor nga mag-detect itong tuwa sa sulod dito, no? by increasing the sensing range. So, how to increase the sensing range? No? If the sensor has an adjustable sensing range, it will also have an adjustment screw to adjust the sensing range. So, para mo kusog ang iyang sensing range, ato lang ni siyang adjustan ning sensing screw diri sa iyang likod. So, capacitive sensors, main parts. Capacitive sensors have 4 main parts: the sensor's body, the sensing phase, the indicator light, and the cable or cable connection end. So, first we discuss about the sensor's body. Inside of the sensor's body is where the circuitry is that makes the sensor work. So, susunod din sa sensor's body na dito yung mga overall circuits para mo gana ang sensor. So, nasa dielectric plates, oscillator, detector, and output. So, ito sa panupunta, sensing phase and indicator light. The sensing phase is the part of the sensor that is used to detect the targets. The indicator light is one of the other end of the sensor from the sensing phase. This light turns on when the target is within the sensor. So, si sensing phase, siya ang mag-detect kung dool na ba sa iya ang object. Then si indicator light is siya ang mag-notify nga si nanay na-detect si sensing phase. So, demonstration. As you can see, pag iduol ang object, which is ang battle to the sensor's phase, musiga ang indicator light. Pero pag malayo na gani ang object, dili na niya ma-detect ang object ni sensor face, dili na po musiga ang indicator light. Now, ito the sensing range. The sensing range of a capacitive sensor is the max distance of a target can be detected from the sensor sensing phase. An example of a being within the sensor's sensing range would be if the target is 6 millimeters away from the sensing phase and the sensor sensing range is 12 millimeters. So aning apart pag 6 millimeters away from the sensing phase siya o 6 millimeter yung makaya ani mura jud tama niya yung ma-detect dili na pud siya ingon nga matulan pag yun. Then ang iyang maximum range is 12 millimeters. Pag beyond na 12 millimeters, hindi na pud niya na ma-detect. So sensor sensing phase range can be found out on the datasheet of the sensor. You can look it up on the manufacturer's website. So kada sensing kada manggod capacitor na sila inlain nga mga range sa iyang sensing range depende sa manufacturer. So naa diri ang iyang sensing range which is 12 mm, so mura na yung pinakakaya nga kalaya sa iyang range. Then napon iyang kada what type of housing kani siya is 30 type, then iyang dimension sa kadako, then iyang operating voltage, pila yung makaon niya nga kuryente, tapos protection class 2, then reverse polarity protection, yes, pwede siya mabali-bali. Sensor connection. This sensor can be purchased with a cable already attached to them, or they have a connector that the cable screws into. So, kaning isa nga design is wire lang siya at the end, while kaning isa is dali easy na lang siya itaod kaya na siya plug daan.
Sensor connection. In this cable, you will find 4 wires. The color of these wires are brown, blue, black, and white. The brown wire gets connected to 24 volts 24-volt direct currents positive, while the blue wire gets connected to 24 volts direct current negative. The black and white wires are the sensor's output wires. The black wire is the sensor's normally open output wire. The sensor will send out a signal on the black wire when it detects the target. The sensor stops sending this signal when it does not detect a target. So, muna siya ang normally open. So, sa makita, as you can see sa picture, musiga ang indicator light kung mupadool ang object. Pero kung mupalayo ang object, dili siya musiga. So, the white wires is the sensor normally closed output wire. The sensor will send out a signal on the white wire when it does not detect a target. The sensor stops sending the signal when the target is detected. So, ang kani siya, bali po ni siya mo ni siya ang normally closed. So, as you can see sa picture, kay ang normally closed, dili siya mohatag og signal. Di siya mohatag og signal basta naa siya ma-detect nga object.
Capacitive sensors output. A capacitive sensor's output can be positive signal or PNP or a negative signal NPN, depending on how the sensor outputs will be connected. It will determine what style of sensors and outputs are. So, basta PNP configuration ng imong gamiton, ang normally open and normally closed load will be connected on the negative. And when you use NPN configuration, the, the normally open and the normally closed load will be connected to the positive. Adjustable sensing range. If the capacitive sensor has an adjustable sensing range, it will have an adjustment screw. Turning the screw clockwise increase the sensitivity of the sensor, and turning the screw counterclockwise to decrease the sensitivity of the sensor. So, dili tanan capacitive sensor has an adjustable sensing range. Naiuban fixed na. So, pero if ang capacitive sensor has naa siya screw sa likod, pwede nimo na siya adjustan. When you turn clockwise, magpasabot, the sensing range will be increased. And when the screw turn counterclockwise, it decreases the sensitivity. Mahinay ang sensitivity sa sensor. Capacitive sensor mounting. Mounting a capacitive sensor can be easy. It mostly depends on how the sensor is going to be used and where it is going to be located. Some styles of capacitive sensor can be mounted by just bolting them into place. Other style of capacitive sensor can be mounted by drilling and tapping a hole the same size as the sensor, and sometimes using a bracket to mount the sensor in the solution. So here is the demonstration the of what I read in the next slide. So pwede siya nga ang kuan bangagan then butangan din og thread by tapping and dito na din siya itaod. Pwede ra gyapon siya. Pero para mas makasiguro, pwede gyapon siya mabutangan og duha ka bolt para mahugot jud ang sensor. So when bracket design po siya, pwede ra po ni siya nga na off ang imong mic.
Capacitive sensor application. Capacitive sensor can be used in many ways. They can be used for part detection on workstation, conveyors, and robots. They can also be used for counting and checking liquid levels. When these sensors are used for part detection, the sensor just sends a signal to the workstation, conveyors, or robots so they know when the part is there. A capacitive sensor can be set up on a conveyor to trigger a counter so that it can count how many parts have been built.
So gamit niya po ni siya si capacitive sensor when counting mass production dili na ng daghang kay manglabay nga mga box dili na maihap sa tao o maihapan lang basin ni sayo. So para ma-prevent to, kung si capacitive sensor nga mag-sense siya nga paglabay niya dito, ma-count as 1, 2, or bisan pila pa na. Open mic.
Capacitive sensor can also be used to check for high or low tank fluid level and to trigger alarm for each. So, ma-detect ni capacitive sensor kung gamay o kung daghan o gamay na lang ang fluid level sa tank.
So, the summary of the report. In review, by regarding this report, we have learned about the capacitive sensor that they detect most solid or liquid targets without physical contact by creating an electrical field. By learning the four main parts of a capacitive sensor, that they have many different options to fit the most of the application. Thank you for listening. And here's our reference.